It all felt so unreal, like a nightmare I couldn't wake from. Just moments ago, I was on a subway, reading the final chapter of a novel that had been my only companion for 13 years. Now, that novel had become my reality. The subway car, once filled with the mundane sounds of daily commutes, had turned into a blood-soaked arena. In the novel, this was just chapter 1. For me, it was the beginning of the end of my world. Surviving that first trial wasn't a victory. It was just a delay of the inevitable. The announcer, that damned Dokja, had made it clear the scenarios would keep coming. I was just Kim Dokja, an ordinary office worker, but I had one advantage no one else did. I knew this story. I had read it, lived it, breathed it for over a decade. Looking around the shattered subway car, I saw the few other survivors. There was Yu Sanga, my colleague from the HR department, her face pale with shock but a flicker of determination in her eyes. And Lee Hyun-sung, the soldier, his broad shoulders slumped but his posture still radiating a sense of duty. We were all that was left from our car. I knew we couldn't stay here. The story was moving forward, with or without us. I approached them, my voice steadier than I felt. We need to move, now. They looked at me, confusion mixing with fear. How could I know what to do? To them, I was just another survivor. To me, I was the sole reader of this apocalypse. We managed to pry the doors open and step out into the darkness of the subway tunnel. The air was thick with the smell of dust and something metallic I didn't want to identify. We found a small maintenance closet, a temporary reprieve. I pulled out a couple of water bottles and some ration bars I'd managed to grab. It wasn't much, but it was something. We sat in silence for a moment, the only sound the distant, unsettling groans of the tunnel and the soft crinkle of wrappers. Yu Sanga looked at me, a question in her eyes. Dokja, how did you know? About everything? I just offered a weak smile. I couldn't tell her I'd read it all in a book. Just a gut feeling, I lied. Lee Hyun-sung, ever the soldier, just nodded grimly. We need to stick together. Your instincts are good. Our quiet moment was shattered by a familiar, cheerful voice that sent a shiver down my spine. The Dokja appeared before us in a shimmer of light. Bravo, everyone! You've cleared the first scenario, but don't get too comfortable. A new window popped up in front of our eyes, glowing with blue light. It was the announcement for the second scenario. Our objective, cross the bridge to Oksu Station. The condition, we had to do it while protecting a designated person. Failure meant elimination. My heart pounded. I knew this part. I remembered the exact details from the novel. A small child, an NPC, would be our charge. Most groups would fail this scenario, sacrificing the child to save themselves. But I knew the secret. Protecting the child wasn't a moral choice, it was a strategic one. As we started moving down the tunnel, I started muttering to myself, piecing together the details from my memory. The ground monsters will appear after the first bend. Weak against light. The water rats are faster, but have low defense. Yu Sanga looked at me, bewildered. Are you seeing the future? Lee Hyun-sung just seemed impressed. Your analysis is incredible. It's like you're a military strategist. I couldn't explain that my strategy was just a book report. A very, very detailed book report. We followed the tracks, the darkness pressing in. And just as I remembered, grotesque, mole-like creatures erupted from the ground. They were slow, but their claws were massive. Lee Hyun-sung charged forward without hesitation, his body a shield. "Get behind me!" he yelled. He was a true hero, just like in the novel. But heroism alone wouldn't be enough. As he fought, another notification pinged in my vision. A few constellations have taken an interest in your existence. The constellation, demon-like Judge of Fire, is curious about your justice. The constellation, Secretive Plotter, is watching your every move. And then another window, shimmering with a digital gold. You have received a sponsorship of 100 coins from Secretive Plotter. Coins. the currency of this new world. I could feel a new power coursing through me, a direct connection to the beings watching from above. For a fleeting second, I saw it, a vast starry sky, and a glowing silhouetted figure looking down, its gaze fixed solely on me. This was it, the sponsorship system, my key to turning the tables. Hyunsung-si, their weakness is their underbelly, I shouted, using the knowledge from the novel. He adjusted his attack, and the monsters fell more quickly. Yu Sanga, though terrified, found a discarded pipe and bravely swung it, defending our flank from smaller, rat-like creatures that swarmed from the pipes. We were a team, forged in desperation. We fought our way through the seemingly endless tunnel. Every step was a battle, every shadow a potential threat. We shared our dwindling supplies, offered words of encouragement, and leaned on each other's strengths. We were becoming a real party, just like in the story. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, we saw it. A faint light at the end of the tunnel. Stairs leading up. Hope surged through me, but it was a cold, brittle thing. I knew what we were about to see. I had read the description countless times, but reading it and living it were two vastly different things. We climbed the stairs, the small talk dying as we got closer to the surface. The air grew heavy with the smell of smoke. The light grew brighter, an angry orange glow that flickered unnaturally. We stepped out of the Oksu station exit and onto the street, and we stopped. We just stopped. The world was on fire. The soul I knew was gone, replaced by a vision of hell. Buildings were crumbling, cars were overturned and burning, and in the distance, the Han River wasn't reflecting the city lights, but the flames of its destruction. A monstrous creature, something far larger than anything we'd faced in the tunnels, was tearing a bridge apart in the distance. The sounds of screams and explosions filled the air. Yusanga let out a choked sob. Lee Hyunsung stood frozen, his soldier's discipline shattered by the sheer scale of the devastation. And me. I just looked out at the burning city, my city, and a single thought echoed in my mind. This is where the protagonist, Yu Jung-hyuk, would have made his grand appearance. But he wasn't here. It was just me. Just Kim Dokja, the reader. I took a deep breath, the smoke stinging my lungs. I looked at the apocalypse laid out before me, the very scene I had read about so many times, and I wasn't afraid. Not anymore. Because this wasn't just the end of the world. This was the beginning of my story. The real story starts now. Thanks so much for watching this recap. It's a crazy world we're diving into, but stick with me and we'll see it through together. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens next. See you in the next scenario.